2. Hello, everyone. I am so excited for a number of reasons. One, y'all know how much I love CA webinars, largest workforce, and really, you guys are so amazing. So I'm so glad that you took time out of your busy day to join us today. Number 2, we're talking about having fun at work, so it really just doesn't get any better than that. And 3, the real icing on the cake today is that my very good friend, Holly Jensen, is the presenter today. Y'all, this woman is a superstar. Really, I would kind of equate her to, she's got like the finesse and style of Catwoman, but I'm telling you, she is all muscle like Wonder Woman. Like, she is just unbelievable, and just, if you have the opportunity to hear her speak at your state association event, let me tell you, you are doing yourself a huge disservice if you don't get there early and get a front row seat, because she is absolutely amazing. Now, part of the reason she's amazing is because she's been working in this incredible profession since 2002. She started out as a CA, an office manager, where she oversaw the operations for Dr. Bodzen's Chiropractic Wellness Center in the beautiful San Diego, California. Now, for almost 2 decades, she's continued to serve the chiropractic community as a professional speaker. Did I mention she's amazing? And as the Chief Operations Officer for Cash Practice Systems. And it's an amazing software and training company that was founded by Dr. Bodzen that has incredible resources that, to be real honest, make your life so much easier. She has trained thousands of doctors and chiropractors how to successfully, I can't even talk today, attract, enroll, and retain more patients while skyrocketing their cash collections. Like I said, she's absolutely amazing. So without further ado, I present the amazing Holly Jensen.
Woo! Wow. Well, thank you for that introduction, Christy. I've never been told I've got the finesse of Catwoman and the strength of Wonder Woman. I think I'm going to turn that into a sign and post it in my office. I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm really excited that you invited me to present today for your ChiroHealthUSA audience. We've had a great relationship with our 2 companies. ChiroHealthUSA and Cash Practice are just a natural fit for every chiropractic office to have. And you and I have become friends over the years, traveling in the same circle. So I have a lot of respect for you as this force, this Wonder Woman as well. So thank you for those compliments that you gave me, Christy. I just want to make sure everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so here's a picture. I just want to help you guys get to know me a little bit better in case you've never heard my story before. But here's a picture of little Holly back in 2002. I can't believe this has been over 16 years ago. But there's me at the front desk, and I didn't really know what I was doing at that time. Dr. Bodzen had hired me to come in for 4 hours a week and just file. And luckily, I knew how to alphabetize, so I'm like, hey, I got this job. I can do this. But so after I had been there for about a month, there was a position open at the front desk for a CA. And I didn't really know what a CA meant or what it was. And he said, if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to train you. And I got to say that right there, just his willingness to want to invest in me, it really took me back, because here I went from a stay-at-home mom and a waitress and running a daycare center to now I was done talking to kids, by the way, after years of being at home raising kids and running a daycare. I really wanted to get out in the professional environment and have a career. And there's nothing wrong with staying at home or running daycare. It just, I was done. I needed to speak with adults. And so that's what attracted me to want to be a part of the Chiropractic Wellness Center at that time. And over the years, it was, we had our ups and downs as any job has, but it slowly developed into a passionate career. And as soon as Dr. Bodzen continued to invest in me with continued training in the office, but taking me to training with state association, seminars, philosophy meetings in our local community with other chiropractors and other CAs, it really empowered me and ignited this fire that I had and this passion that I had that we were doing good in the world. We were serving the people in our communities, making the world a better place. And I mean, what's better than witnessing the miracles of chiropractic on the effect that it not only has on your own families, but on the people that it has in your communities. And we had a lot of fun in practice, and even here at Cash Practice Systems, we have a lot of fun in here as well. We know how to work hard and play hard, but there's a time and place for that. And then here's just a couple of fun pictures of us having fun in practice. Now, since we're in San Diego, we always had these patient appreciation theme days of like tropical tune-up days. And so you could see we're dressed in, Hawaiian print and Hawaiian decorations in the office. And it was really fun for not only us to put on these events, but as a CA to help plan it and prepare it and invite our patients to it. And so I'm going to talk to you today about some of the fun things that you can do in your office. I want to brag about my family because, of course, all of the hard work I put in the chiropractic profession, I couldn't have done any of that without my family. You can say I have a pretty big family. I have 4 kids. I have 3 grandkids now. So, yes, I am a grandma. And then on top of it, my husband had a full career in the United States Navy and actually just recently retired. So, busy lives like we all have, but it doesn't mean that you can't have fun. It doesn't mean that if you're, working hard to support your family, it doesn't mean that you can't have a passionate career that you have fun in and you're getting paid well to do so. Some of those things, this fire that's ignited and propelled me to be passionate and to want to be the very best CA and office manager that I could be, led me to be on the cover of the Chiropractic Assistant magazine. That was last year. And oh my gosh, I share this with you because I am very proud of it. Dr. Bodson, who you see here on the left-hand side of your screen, that's the doctor that I've worked for all of these years, and I still work for to this day, or I should say work with, because we are a team. So he's empowered me to grow and to find my chiropractic career rewarding, and I'm very passionate about it and very proud of what we've built here with the chiropractic office and in our community, and now here at Cash Practice Systems. One other really cool thing that was really fun for me to do this year was participate. I'm actually an associate producer in this movie called The Calling. It's a true story about Dr. Bodson's journey through finding his own calling and becoming a chiropractor. And you can see that picture of me there, the lady with me, Carenza Laguerre, is the actress who portrays me as a CA in this movie. And it's been really, I was just sharing with Christy before I came on, this movie was just released at the beginning of November, and when I went and sat in for the screening for the first time in the theater to see the full movie, I had this emotional release, and I cried, but it wasn't because of seeing all the struggles that I've went through and the ups and downs in practice over the last, couple of decades, but I cried because I am so proud of myself for working so hard all of these years to be the very best CA that I could possibly be, how it ended up being portrayed in this movie, The Calling, and I've received a lot of really good feedback from people. Here's one that I just got recently from a CA saying how inspired she was by seeing me in this position as a CA in the office. And I know a lot of you will relate to it as well. The movie's actually free for Amazon Prime members. So if you just go to thecallingmovie.com, it'll direct you to the Amazon Prime. You can also rent it. I think it's $1 to $2.99. It's 45 minutes. Please watch it. I would love to have you post a review or connect with me and let me know how you felt about watching that movie and seeing a CA portrayed in a movie. It's really cool. All right, so enough about me, but thank you for taking the time to get to know me a little bit more. But today's all about putting more fun in your workday. And I think being a CA is a lot of fun, and I challenge you guys to post in the comments right now and let Christy and I know, what do you think being a CA, what is the fun part of being a CA? Are recalls fun? No, those absolutely aren't fun. For me, the fun part is I'm a very outgoing person. So just interacting with patients, greeting them, getting to know them and their families, helping them, witnessing the miracles of chiropractic is a big one. And these are in no particular order, but serving the people in our communities, doing talks at the elementary school. These are fun things that as a CA really resonated with me. And this environment, this health and wellness culture environment that we became known about in our community really stuck with me. And I craved that environment to be in that setting, in this health and wellness setting. But Christy, what are some other things that you hear about that make it fun to be a CA?
Oh, I think definitely is the interaction with the patients. I know for me, for the brief time that I was in Dr. Foxworth's office, that for me, I used to love our pediatric patients that came in.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're so much fun. They're like, it's time for my tickle, because to them that's like all it was, is that they got tickled and walked out feeling better. Community events and interacting with the community looks like a really popular way to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely, I know there was a lot of opportunities where we had, during this time when we're developing the systems and procedures I'm going to show you today to free up your time to put more fun in your work day. We were able to have, more fun in organizing these community events. And it was, I want to go back to Dr. Bodson never treated me as, second or third. It was like we were all on a team. We were a team. And so he empowered us to take charge of certain projects. And it felt good to be put in charge of a community event. I remember we did hosted a Kids Day America. And so it was really fun for me to put this together and reach out to other vendors to talk about, just recycling and inviting a dentist in to come and do free exams for kids. And, so we had this big event that we put on. It was a lot of fun. So I agree with you, Christy, just serving our community and putting on events in the community is a lot of fun. But you got to have time to be able to do that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, this is by far my favorite answer so far. Mary from Texas just said, spreading the chiropractic care worldwide through mission work.
Oh, man,
love that.
Love it. That's a good one, Mary. Thank you for your service. Tell you're a go-getter with that statement. So some things, I've put together some things that you can do. So whether you're a doctor or a CA or the billing manager or whatever your role is in the practice, I've put together 4 things that I think are big time savers if you implement them. So let's dig in. So the very first thing that I want to talk to you about that really saved a lot of time are care plans, putting patients on care plans. Some of you may or may not be doing this, but I'm going to kind of go through and show you exactly what I did as a CA to put people on care plans and what my role was in it, because now putting people on care plans isn't something CAs can just say, oh, this is what we're going to do. You have to partner with your doctor, of course, and your other team members to get everybody on board. This has to be something the entire practice is in on. But here's some benefits of care plans. It's going to help streamline the flow at the front desk. And what I mean by that is when you have patients on care plans, they're committed to their treatment. You're establishing their schedule in the beginning. 2 times a week, 3 times a week. You're establishing that in the beginning. So whether maybe they come in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. So you're just streamlining your calendar. There's also going to be no confusion over patient finances. And this was a big one for me. And I think some of you can relate, and please chime in your comments if you can relate. In the beginning of my career being a CA, I was really uncomfortable talking to people about money. I guess you could say I had a poverty complex where I thought, oh, if I can't afford it, they probably can't afford it either. If I can't afford it, I don't really want to tell them how much it costs. And I know there's a lot of us who feel that way, and it really is a mindset that you have to break out from. But when you have people on care plans, it really helps dissolve those awkward financial conversations with patients. And if you're not good at talking to people about money, care plans are the best thing out there, because a care plan is going to give you more time to focus on patient care, patient education, so more of those fun things that you want to do. It also results in better treatment plan compliance because it's like a roadmap for the patient care. You're clearly outlining everything that's expected of them and you or your doctor, your office, of what's going to happen during that treatment plan. How many times a week are they coming in? How many visits are they getting? What are their insurance responsibility? It's already been laid out on their care plan, so there's no ambiguity. It's very clear. So it really helps the patient stay the course of care. This is something the doctor's going to like. It increases cash collections because the patients are committed. They're purchasing the care. And I'm going to go over that in a little bit more detail in just a moment. But it's also going to increase patient retention because they're on a road. They have a roadmap. It's like a GPS. They know where they're going. So they're going to stay the course of care. It's going to increase patient retention. And all of these things combined really result in a happier team and happier practice members. I'm sure it feels good for patients to show up, get taken care of, and then go on with their day, not having to stop at the front desk and not having to do all these things. We can focus on the patient experience in the practice. And so we estimate by putting patients on care plans, you're going to free up 10 hours a month. I'm not saying that's, a day off from work you take off, although that, that's there. If that's your fun, taking time off work, great. But I'm saying 10 hours a month, imagine what you could do with an extra 10 hours a month. You can put more time into those fun community events if that's something that's important to your office. You can put more time in marketing for new patients. You can have more time to do those fun things. Anything you want to chime in on or any feedback that we got from the audience, Christy?
No, but you could really put on just 10 hours a month is huge. It's like a little over a day. What could you do in an extra day a month? And I have to say, care plans are a lifesaver. They really do save so much time and streamline the front desk.
Yeah, absolutely. And so now I'm going to kind of break it down and talk to you a little bit more about care plans, because sometimes when I'm out speaking about care plans, some CAs, if the doctor hasn't really they don't do care plans, or the CA is not really privy to what a treatment plan is, or don't get me started on this. My biggest pet peeve is CAs telling me they've never even had a chiropractic adjustment. They don't know what happens in the patient exam. And then so if you're a CA and you're on this call, or your doctor and your staff's never been adjusted or been in an exam, you need to change things. How do you expect people to change the world and serve your community through chiropractic if they can't experience the same benefits your patients do? So that's very important. But a care plan, what it is, it's a reflection of the patient's treatment plan. So they're really two different things. A treatment plan is what the doctor, based upon his or her clinical findings, recommends for the patient's care. So that's the treatment plan. And the doctor will come up with that, whether it's a year of care, 8 months of care, 6 months of care, whatever the goal is. The objective is the treatment plan is built by the doctor. So a care plan really addresses the financial aspect. So based upon the treatment that the doctor's recommending, the care plan will kind of dictate that. Care plans will cover all of the care the patient needs during that treatment period. So whether it's therapies, adjustments, massages, a traction unit, a support pillow, it's going to list out everything. So it's an all-inclusive program of care designed to meet the treatment plan goals that were set out. Care plans also include insured visits and non-insured visits. And as I speak throughout the country, I hear some say, oh, well, we put patients on care plans after their insurance benefits are exhausted. Well, what do you think the side effect of that is? So patients used to paying their $25 copay every time they come in, they exhaust their insurance benefits, and then what happens? They have a new purchase decision to make. They've gone from paying $25 copay to now $60 a visit, and they're like, I'm out of here. See you in January, right? When the insurance benefits kick back in again. So it's really important that your care plans include all of the patient's financial responsibilities to your office right from the beginning, whether it's the visits to meet the deductible, their copays packaged up with their non-insured visits. It's listing out everything, and you start it from day one so the patient doesn't have a new purchase decision to make when the insurance benefits are exhausted. Care plans are presented after the patient accepts the treatment plan. Okay, so in the report of findings, the doctor is sitting down with the patient outlining the recommendations for care. So once the patient says yes to care, that's when the care plans are then presented. Care plans are not ever presented to patients unless they have 100% said yes to the treatment plan. Those two go hand in hand. And you'll have to excuse me for just a moment. I keep hitting the mute button on my microphone because I'm getting over a head cold. So if you hear that, I'm still here. I just don't want you to hear me coughing. So this goes hand in hand. And if you're going to be in Parker Seminars, Las Vegas, in February, we're actually going to be speaking, myself, Dr. Margie Smith, and Dr. Miles Bodson, we're going to be speaking about this very topic, what the doctor's responsibilities are when communicating with the patients during the report of findings, getting the patients to say yes to care, and then whether it's doctor or CA, presenting the care plan, the financial plan with the patient, but you don't do that until the patient said yes to the treatment plan. And the care plans can be presented by either the doctor or the CA. Now, we always recommend the person who's better at talking about money or more confident is the person who does it, but everybody in the office should be trained on presenting the care plans or reviewing the care plans with the patient, because you never want to be in a situation where Sally CA doesn't show up and she's the only one who reviews care plans with the patients. There's a Day 2 report of findings coming in today, and we got to reschedule it because Sally CA is not there. Don't put yourself in that situation. Everybody in your office needs to be comfortable in presenting care plans, and the best way to get comfortable with that is to have team meetings where you guys rehearse this and practice it over and over. One of the biggest thing about care plans, since I'm talking about it, I'm obligated to tell you, the care plans that you're presenting, they must be compliant. I'm going to tell you about what makes a plan compliant in just a moment, but it also outlines the patient's financial responsibilities to your office. So you might be thinking, well, how do you do that? We have an Excel spreadsheet that we just plug in numbers and it spits out this document and we give it to the patient, and that's our care plan. That's good in theory. However, it may or may not be compliant, or from a legal standpoint, not compliant. So what makes a care plan compliant is that it has all of the services and fees clearly itemized, and I'll show you some examples in a moment. It applies your compliant discounts, so your ChiroHealthUSA discounts or your prompt pay discounts are compliantly applied to non-covered services only. And then it also has a compliant terms of agreement, which includes how refunds are handled. All of these things are very important. So if you have a care plan that you've put together, or your doctor's put together, or you borrowed it from the guy down the street, there's a lot of federal and state regulations and state board regulations that we have to abide by to make sure that we're serving our in the best and legal capacity. So you want to make sure that you're running things by the right people. And so definitely ChiroHealthUSA for your compliant discounts, Cash Practice Systems for your compliant financial plans, your compliant care plans. And that's really how our two companies mesh well together. Here's an example of the exact plans I present to patients. These are the care plans. You can see there's multiple pages, so it's like basically a service contract. Page 1 lists out all of the services and products that we're recommending to the patient during that treatment period. We're listing out the cost, the actual fee for each of those services. You can see in the third column on the right of the first page, we have our ChiroHealthUSA discounts, our compliant discounts being applied. So we're able to show the patient what it would cost if they paid per visit, and then what it costs by being involved with ChiroHealthUSA and having a compliant discount packaged up in their program of care. And then we give them affordable payment options. So you can see it's not something that's just thrown together. It's a professional-looking compliant document. So let me kind of just zoom in. Here's page 1. So what you're looking at here, whether you're all cash and insurance, you're listing out all of the services and products. And this is just an example, my disclaimer on this. This is for illustration purposes only. What I list here for my fees and discounts are not a recommendation. It's for an example for illustration purposes only. So it's just listing everything out. My compliant discounts are only applied to services that are not covered by insurance. And so as a cash practice member, we actually teach you how to create these plans and how to build them. They're really easy to do. Just takes about an hour of training and you can create these. Here's the multiple pages that go along with that page 1 that I just showed you. So we have a compliant terms of agreement. We're addressing with the patient what happens if they stop care early, how we handle refunds, what happens if they go on vacation, miss appointments, get in a PI injury, work-related injury. It handles all of that. And we have offices in all 50 states using these compliant plans, and they've also been reviewed by our compliance experts, Dr. Ray Foxworth of ChiroHealthUSA and Kathy Mills-Chang of KMC University, along with the attorneys. Then our care plans, they also offer payment options. So we're offering monthly recurring payments. We're offering the patient to make a down payment followed by smaller monthly payments. And then we're also offering prepays. And so the reason why I'm pointing this out on this slide is because it's really important that when you're showing people the cost of their program of care, that you give them payment options. Some of you might think, oh, well, in our office, we only do prepays. And that's great. Prepays are great, but you're constantly dependent upon new patients. Somebody has to sell the care plans. And then also it creates a purchase decision for the patient to make. So at the end of the treatment plan, you're ready to transition them onto wellness, but the patient will have a new purchase decision to make. And for about less than 5% of the American population only prepays for things. The rest of the American public chooses to do monthly payments. And I'm sure you guys would agree, if you were to go out onto a car lot and you interview people coming to purchase a car and ask them, how are you going to be making this car purchase? Are you going to pay in full, or are you going to do it off of monthly payments? 95% of people walking out of the car lot that day are going to say monthly payments. And that's how we just all do things. Our monthly budget is just how we dictate and how we do everything. So offering these 3 payment options really has some behavioral psychology in it, because we're doing what people are normally doing with their household budget these days. Types of plans to create. You can create plans, whether it's wellness care plans, corrective care plans, plans with insurance, family plans. But if you can imagine, a majority of your practice members are on some type of care plan, and all of the patients know what's expected of them. They know how many times a week they're coming in. They know what their financial responsibilities are. Can you just imagine how good that feels and how much time is going to be freed up in your workday? This is going to turn into a well-oiled machine. You have people coming in, you're loving them, you're serving them, and you're not having to talk about all of the other things. You can focus on the patient experience. Excuse me for one moment. Okay. Next is automating payments. This is huge. You can't have care plans without automating payments, because imagine if you were on a program of care and every time once a month when you came in, I said, okay, Christy, well, it's the first of the month, you owe your $250 payment. Wouldn't it be so easy to just be like, I can take this $250 cash that I have in my wallet and go to Nordstrom, or I can go to the chiropractic office. And not that paying's a problem, but it's the purchase decision, the thought of touching the money when the patient's in the office really is why you want to automate payments, because automated payments is really one of the biggest obstacles for patients continuing care. Let me use this analogy. Let's say you sign up for 24-hour fitness, and instead of them putting your credit card on file and automating your monthly payment of $40 a month, they say every time you come into the gym, you have to, pay them $10 every time you come in. Well, I know I'm going to laugh about this, but I probably wouldn't show up to the gym anyways, regardless, even if it's automated, but that's just me. But I definitely wouldn't go if I had to be like, oh man, I've got to go get $10 out of the bank and I got to, pay it when I go. And it's an obstacle. So if you want to increase patient retention and increase cash collections and free up more time, you're going to automate the way payments are being collected. Now, let me read you this, the laws of retention, chiropractic laws of retention for a patient. So in order to prevent patients from dropping out of care, you have to identify and remove situations where a patient has to make a decision as to whether they continue care or not. And so the background image I have up on the screen is a bucket with holes in it. The water in the bucket let's say it represents your patients. Those holes, the water squirting out of the bucket, represents your patients leaving your practice. So what we want to do is identify and remove situations where a patient has to make a decision as to whether to continue with care or not. And the number one thought of patient dropout is thinking about money. So it's time to pay again. The more frequent a patient thinks about paying for care, the lower the retention. And like I was saying earlier, it's not the money that's an obstacle. It's the fact that you're routinely reminding them to touch their wallet. So what you can do to help is just stop reminding people about the money and automate the way the payment's being collected. So I have some tips for you on that here. So 4 business models for collecting money. So number one is if you're a pay-per-visit practice, and that's fine, most of your patients are paying per visit, your PVA or patient visit average is probably around 12. You can increase patient retention and increase cash collections by just automating those visits. So when Mary comes in and is paying per visit, instead of having her stop at the front desk, open her wallet, write a check for $60 or pay $60, you're going to say, hey, Mary, so good to see you. Today at $60, we'll go ahead and charge your card on file and your receipt will be emailed to you. If you just did that and automated the way that one payment's being collected, it's going to really help increase the patient retention and cash collections and free up more of your time. Blocks of visits. These are basically 10 to 12 visits. Patients are buying a chunk of visits at a time. So typically we see PVA, patient visit average, hover around 24 to 36 visits. You can increase the retention and the cash collections and free up more time by automating that. So that same person, hey, Mary, this is the last visit on your block of care. We're going to go ahead and charge your card on file for $600. The receipt will be emailed to you, and we'll reload your block of care. Okay, so you can auto-renew that as well. Next is prepaid plans. These are your long-term care plans, typically PVAs around 50 to 75 visits. But you want to offer prepay as an option, not the only choice. So that, because, again, it's going to really help with patient retention, cash collections, and freeing up your time when you automate it with monthly auto debits. This, by far, is the best method to freeing up your time, increasing cash collections, and patient retention. We'll see PVA at 150 or higher, and offer this as an option because it's really easy to sit down with the patient and say, hey, here's our care plan, here's everything the doctor is recommending over during the course of care. You have these 3 payment options: monthly, down and monthly, or prepay. Which do you prefer? So they pick the one that works best for them, and then their monthly payments are just automated from there. And it makes life so easy and so much fun and frees up so much time. So here's our benefits to automated payments. It's pretty much the same as the benefits of putting people on care plans. Streamlines the flow at the front desk. You will literally not have a line of people at your front desk anymore because everything's automated. What I would do as a CA in my busy time from 8 to 10 a.m. was our patient adjusting hours, our prime time hours, and we just have hundreds of people coming in during that time. I was the only CA. We didn't have multiple CAs. The only CA at that time during that short window, because we had people on care plans. I was really good about making sure people didn't leave without scheduling appointments. I was even better at getting people to commit to a weekly schedule if they're on a care plan. So, for example, Mary comes in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right at 8, 10 a.m. So it just makes it really easy to see a lot of people in that time, and then when adjusting hours are over, then I can say, okay, Mary owes $60 for her visit. I'm going to charge her that. She purchased a supplement today. She's just freeing up a lot of time, streamlining things and making things more efficient. Really, ultimately, are going to just develop a happier team and happy practice members. It's going to make it really convenient for them. It's going to be fun for them too. In regards to automated payments, you need to make sure that you're using a PCI compliant software to securely store the client billing. It's hard to believe. I know we're almost in 2019, but there are still some offices out there who will write credit card numbers down, store them on a spreadsheet, store them in their EHR, and you 100%, it's illegal. You can't do it. Doesn't matter which state you're in, you cannot store billing information. It has to be securely stored and encrypted. Our software contains a system called the auto debit system, which will securely store and encrypt the credit card data. So check that out. But we also encourage you to store signatures on file. So instead of having patients hand sign a receipt every time you charge their credit card, the care plans, number one, stores the signature on files. The auto debit system that we have stores signatures on files. But we also offer a form for patients to sign for their one-time payments to store their signature on file. So again, we want to make it as fun and efficient as possible and free up as much time for you and the patients when they're in the office. We email receipts. We don't print them out. People absolutely love it. And we also use a secure online form to have patients update their billing. So for example, let's say Mary's monthly auto debit of $250 is declined. This system, the auto debit system, automatically emails Mary saying, hey, Mary, your payment was declined. Please click here to update your billing. I'm not having to chase down Mary and call her and ask her to update billing. She can do it on her own. So all of these things combined, just automating payment processing, we estimate you're going to save 40 hours a month. You just freed up 40 hours a month. I mean, that's a big deal. That's like a full work week of 8 hours a day freed up. And if you can imagine, you have freed up 40 hours a month plus the 10 hours a month from patients on care plans. That's 50 hours a month that you've just freed up where you can focus on more of the fun stuff. Next here is patient communication. And what I mean by patient communication is this is different for doctors and for CAs, but when your time is freed up and you can have better rapport and connection with your patients, they're going to open up to you. They're going to talk to you about what's going on in their lives. It'll feel more comfortable for you when you have this connection with them to ask for referrals, to, other things, and just to be a more connected environment. And one way that we would do this is when my time's freed up so I can focus on patient connection and communication is I wanted to make sure that when a new patient came into the office, I got up out of my desk, I came around the front of the desk, I shook that new patient's hand, and I sat down with them, next to them, in the patient lobby, and I reviewed their patient intake forms. And I was able to do that because my time was freed up. And I didn't just say, oh, welcome to the practice, here's a clipboard, or here's an iPad, fill this out. I sat down with them and connected with them on a personal human level. And I think that's really important. Another tool that we would use to connect with patients in a way that they could understand and how it relates to chiropractic care and their overall health and wellness is this tool we have called the Wellness Score System. And really, it's a patient report card. Patients already know when they are graded as an A versus a D- on a test, they feel this emotional response that drives them toward wanting to get an A. And so it motivates them with starting care and it motivates them with staying with care. Because at each re-exam, we were giving them a letter grade. Hey, Mary, when you first came in, your letter grade was an F. Dr. Bodson just told me after your first re-exam, you're at a D+. That's great news. Good job, Mary. Now, as a CA, I may not know what the heck any of these things mean that the doctor's doing in the exam, but I know what letter grades mean, and I can communicate better with the patient and congratulate them, or even use it as a tool when the patient isn't staying the course of care. We get those flaky patients who are like, I feel better. I don't know why I'm coming in. Well, Mary, I want to remind you that your last wellness score was a D. We're trying to get you to an A, and that's why it's important that you don't miss today's visit. Okay, so it's really important that you're using this. Here's just a zoomed-in image of the wellness score. It allows you to put in any biomarkers or parameters. Some offices do 5 or 6, some offices do 10 to 20. So it's completely customizable, but it's really easy to use and really easy as far as communicating with patients. And on the next slide here, so benefits of the wellness score system, patients are going to understand the value of care because it's so simple for them to understand that letter grade. This is my favorite. Fewer patients are going to require a recall because they already know how they're doing. They've had their wellness score at every re-exam. They know how they're doing, so they're not thinking like, well, why am I still going if I feel better? And we estimate this is going to save you another 8 hours a month just by having your patients on wellness scores, using letter grades to communicate with them. So far we're at 10 hours a month saved with patients on care plans, 40 hours a month saved with automated payments, and 8 hours saved with patients on wellness scores. Last but certainly not least is automating patient education and automating new patient marketing. Just automating. I mean, look at the world that we live in today. Everybody has a cell phone in their pocket, and they get their email, they get their text messages. What better way to stay constantly in front of your patients than with email? This, what you see here, within Cash Practice Systems, we have a tool called the Drip Education Email Marketing System. So I want you to imagine you've just enrolled a new patient into care, a program of care, and at the same time you're setting up their payment schedule, you're assigning them an email campaign that automatically gets sent to them once a week for their first 6 weeks of care that educates them on what happens after their first adjustment. It just educates them about all of the things that are going on over the first 6 weeks of care, and it makes it really easy when you automate that process. Even better, as a CA, before we had the trip education system, I would spend hours writing out birthday postcards to our patients. I'd spend about $50 a month on postage. And so by automating birthday emails and patient education and marketing information, we estimate it's going to save you another 5 hours a month. But in addition to that, you're constantly staying in front of the patient, and it's just fewer recalls for you to do. And so really the putting this all together, using everything that I've taught you today, which is part of Cash Practice Systems, is going to save you 63 hours a month. It's going to free up 63 hours a month. If you break that down, that's 15 hours a week or 2 full work days a week that you're saved and freed up so you can put more time and energy into having more fun in your workday with those theme days, your patient appreciation days, your community events, your dinner with the doc events, better connection with the patient, more time for learning and empowering yourself as a CA to do the very best that you can do to serve the people in your community. And doctors who are on the calls, if you can imagine, if you're saving 63 hours a month or freeing up 63 hours a month, I mean, that's $1,000 or more in payroll. And then in addition to what I've talked about, your practice is growing. You're not just saving hours or saving money. Your practice is growing. You're increasing patient retention, and you're increasing cash collections. The very last thing that I want to say before we take time for questions is I have a free ebook for you that I've co-authored with Dr. Bodson. It's the 4 Secrets to Skyrocketing Cash Collections Without Giving Up Insurance. I'd like to email you that ebook. If you'd like a consultation as well, I'd also love to give you that, but text in the word fun with your full name and email to this phone number that you see on your screen. It's 619-609-0521. And then so we'll leave this slide up as Christy comes back on, and we'll open up to see if we have any questions or closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Holly. Make sure that y'all are texting that quickly with again, don't forget your full name and email to take advantage of the free ebook that Holly co-wrote with Dr. Bodson. It's going to be full of wonderful information. It's really funny because I've had people, because I always talk about all of these things that you've discussed today when I speak on the weekends, and they're like, well, I don't understand how it's going to save us money. But if you really think about it, CAs, y'all are multitasking from the moment you walk through the door, answering the phone, greeting patients, checking patients out, scheduling appointments, helping the doctor. You're doing so many things, and just think about how much easier your life would be and how much more incredible the patient experience is that when you are having those conversations, those really important conversations, one-on-one about the finances, that you're doing it one time, and it's more meaningful because they're getting your one-on-one attention. And then the rest of the time, you just get to be the hostess with the mostest and greet people as they're coming in and cheering them on as they get better and healthier and happier. I just had to throw that in, my own 2 cents. But
thank you.
We have a really
right. I want to just add, everything you're saying is so right, Christy, because I don't think that I would be in the position or have the successes that I've had in chiropractic to this day without all of these systems and procedures that I had in place. And I mean, I helped take this practice to the next level because I was empowered. My time was freed up. I was having fun in practice. Patients can feel it. Team members can feel it. Practice members can feel it. And, it's fun. And I'm still having fun. I'm not done yet.
That's exactly right. And when you have that free time and you're not feeling so pressed, like you're constantly going from the next task to the next task to the next task, and you're overwhelmed and have more work than you can complete in your day, that it reduces so much stress, but it frees you up to be more creative and how to get that
Yeah,
message out about chiropractic. And that is what makes for the happiest of happy work environments, to be honest. It's one of the things I
absolutely.
love so much about my work environment is, that freedom to be so creative. So we have this really great question, and I get asked this all the time, and I'm sure you do too, Holly. It says, how successful can setting up care plans be in a small private clinic that only has one CA and one chiropractor?
Oh, well, that's a great question. I'll go back to the example that I gave earlier. In our practice, we had two CAs. We had a morning CA and an evening CA. And so my shift as a CA, I came in at 7:30 in the morning. Our first patients we started seeing at 8 a.m. And then I worked until about 2 or 3 p.m. And then the next CA took over. We weren't super high volume. We were really comfortable with seeing 200 visits a week, 250 a week, depending, on what's going on. We just had the one doctor, and we had some associates come in, intern over the years, but it's very successful. In fact, I don't think that you can, if you have a small practice with one DC and one CA, you must have patients on cash plans and automated payments if you wanted to be able to have more of an impact on those people and have more cash collections and patient retention, have more time freed up to do the fun things.
I completely agree. If anybody is overworked and overloaded, it is those smaller clinics that
Yeah,
have
exactly.
one CA and one doctor. So anytime that you can free up means that you can do some really great things for yourself. Like one, actually take a lunch break. Number two, please leave the office and take a lunch break that doesn't take place at your desk. Because that's what I see when I travel is that those doctors and that CA who it's just the two of them taking care of the whole community is that y'all are putting in the most hours and have the least amount of free time. And this is totally going to free up that time so that you can take a deep breath, relax, get rejuvenated before you start seeing patients again.
Yeah,
And it's
you're in a
also
constant reactive mode, and you can't be proactive or put that creative energy, like you were just saying, without that. It's this constant, reactive stress mode that you're always in.
right, and that's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's not good for your patient. So this is an incredible um, something incredibly simple to implement into your office to streamline it and give y'all some breathing room. So our next question, also a good one, it says, how would you calculate a monthly payment so the patient is staying current with their bill and not racking up a bill? And I love this question because it comes up every time Dr. Bodson and I speak.
Yeah, that is a great question. So there's a lot of what we do and teach is based upon the behavioral psychology, why people do the things that they do, and it also in the training that I teach on, that we teach here at Cash Practice, is when presenting these care plans to patients. Um, my favorite payment option, was number two. And so remember, number one is just equal monthly payments spread out over the treatment period. Payment option two requires the patient to make a larger down payment, followed by smaller monthly payments, and then the prepaid option. And with each of these options, we apply a compliant prompt pay discount to incentivize them to choose one of the payment options, right? So they can pay per visit, their ChiroHealthUSA discount rate, they could pay per visit all day long. But my ultimate goal is to try and get people on the second payment option. I want them to make a larger down payment followed by smaller monthly payments. And it's going to do a couple of different things. One, it's going to address that question that we just came in, where the patient, they receive a majority of care in the beginning. So they have maybe $800 in services when you've only collected a $200 monthly payment. But with that down payment option, if they've put $1,000 down, that's going to help. And second is it really helps transition the patient on to the next phase of care because they don't have a new purchase decision to make. We're still establishing a monthly payment habit into their household budget. So we get to say, hey, Christy, good news. Your monthly payment on your corrective care plan was $350 a month. Now that you're ready for wellness, your payment's going down to $150. Stop at the front desk and we'll get your signature for a lower payment amount. So there's that. So how I would say it to my patient is, when I'm presenting the plan, Christy, here's your program of care. Here's the 3 different payment options. Most of our patients find that payment option number 2 seems to work better for them. Plus, there's the extra discount for making the down payment today. Which payment do you think would work for you? So I plant the seed. People want to feel belong, and they want to, sad to say, people want to do what everybody else is doing. So when I plant the seed of, most of our practice members choose this one because of the extra it makes it easier for people to choose that. But the plan, the compliant terms of the plan also talk about what happens if the patient were to stop care early and there's a balance due. So it does address that.
And the great thing is that the system calculates the payments. It helps you to calculate the refund if they fall out of care early. And the other really important thing to remember, Christina, in this situation is that their payments and plans start at the beginning of care. Their payments are going to end if they complete that full care plan when they end care. So it's not like they've stopped care if they've completed the full care plan and then they still owe you lots of money. So if it's a 3-month care plan, the payments are only going to be spread out across those 3 months. You're actually going to see your collections really improve by implementing the care plans and the auto debit system in your practice. And the other really cool thing, and I might have not have missed this when you said it, is that especially for those smaller offices where you have the doctor and the staff, and this is for you doctors, a lot of times y'all don't take the time off that you need for a vacation or a long weekend or things like that, or if you get sick and there's nobody at your office, you're not collecting money that day. You're going to find that over time, as you start implementing this and care plans and the auto debit system, is even on Christmas Day when you're sitting at home with your family, money is still being deposited into your account because of all the patients that you have on auto debit.
That's right.
And it is so much easier than doing prepaid plans where they pay for the whole amount up front, and then you're trying to figure out how much of a refund they get if they, in the case Dr. Bodson, I've heard him tell it about the time he had 3 military families that had just started care prepaid in advance, and then they all had orders to move, and he had to write those refund checks in one day. And it was a huge amount of money. And so you're not having to worry about all that because the system helps to break that down for you.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Do I have any other questions coming through? I do want to remind you, doctors and staff, if it's, just the staff watching or just the doctor watching, and you want to share this information or make it as part of your next team meeting where y'all all sit down and be like, hey, we're about to revolutionize the practice. Let's hear what Holly has to say and watch this webinar. The recording is going to be posted online this afternoon. You'll be able to access it in the next hour, and it will be available for the next year. And I really do encourage you because, like Holly said, you have to have everybody on board with this. And I just want y'all to think, you do it as an exercise. What would y'all do as a practice if you had 60 extra hours a month? What fun would y'all do? What would you implement? How would you serve your community? What kind of an impact could it have on your practice? So watch it together and then brainstorm it. And I want to see what y'all come up with, what you're going to do with the 60 extra hours of time.
I love it.
So I don't see any more questions coming in. I'm just going to say that if you have any additional questions, make sure you went ahead and got this ebook. We're going to send out the link to the recording here in the next 15, 20 minutes. It's going to be posted on the website. But if you have additional questions, want to learn more about Holly and the team at Cash Practice, you can check them out at cashpractice.com. Not only do they have this incredible software and all of these incredible things that you can implement into your practice to make your life easier, they have incredible training all the time, and they're super helpful. And it's probably, hands down, I like to say that ChiroHealthUSA is the easiest thing you can implement into your office. But, I mean, Cash Practice is probably neck and neck with us in getting that done. I mean, they make it so simple.
We try, but
And
you
their
know,
team
you
is
get out of it what you put into it. You know, as with anything, if you know your goal is to lose 5 pounds, if you just sit there and think about it, you're never going to get it done. You got to actually roll up your sleeves, get dirty, go through the training as a team, put these things into practice together, and you're going to be well rewarded for it in the end, and you're going to put more fun in your work day.
and that is the ultimate goal, especially with the new year right around the corner. So everybody, we're having our last webinar of 2018 is next Tuesday, and man, do we have a lineup for you in 2019 with some pretty incredible speakers, and hint, hint, just know that Holly's going to be back because, well, she's pretty amazing after all.
Thank you, Christy.
So next week, you're welcome. How to avoid the successful practice transition trap. And ironically enough, I was speaking at an event this weekend, and we were talking, the doctors were talking a lot about transitioning out of practice. So I know this is a hot topic, whether you've been in practice for 5 years or 25 years, you've got to be thinking ahead about what you're going to do when it comes time to retire and live a life to the fullest. Or really just taking it up a notch, because let's be honest, in chiropractic, we are all living life to the fullest. So if you haven't registered already, please go and go to the website, ChiroHealthUSA.com/webinars, and register for that incredible webinar. Thank you, Holly, for doing the webinar today. I'm so excited.
My pleasure.
That one, I got
You're
to talk
welcome.
to you. And two, y'all, she's just incredible. Like she said, she'll be at Parker Seminars in February of 2019. So if you are going to be there, I will be honest with you. The last time she spoke at Parker, there were like 800 or 900 people in the room. It was kind of insane. So you do have to get there early to get a good seat because, well, she's just that amazing. So I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day and a fabulous week, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, we're all done. And we're